Hey there, deep diving friend. Ever pour your heart into planning for the future? And then you realize like your dreams have totally shifted. Like that 5-year plan you spent ages on needs a complete do-over.
It's so common. We underestimate how much our values are priorities. Even our financial goals will just change as we go through life.
It's so true. Today we're diving into Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money to explore exactly that. He's got a whole chapter called You'll Change. And it's full of these insightful, ideas about how accepting change can actually lead to better decisions with our money. And honestly, just a more fulfilling life overall.
Yeah, totally. Housel starts the chapter with a story about this man who knew he wanted to be a doctor since he was a kid. Like, that was his drawer. Worked hard, got there, and then realized he couldn't stand being a doctor.
Oof, that's rough. But I bet a lot of people can relate to that. Achieving a goal, and it's not what you thought it would be, reminds me of that end of history illusion thing he talks about.
Mm-hmm.
What is that exactly?
Okay, so the end of history illusion. It's this weird thing our minds do where we totally get how much we've changed personally in the past, but then we underestimate how much we'll change in the future. Like we look back and we're like, wow, I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But then we just assume, okay, this is it. I've arrived. This is me.
Like I've peaked. Time to coast.
Exactly. But this illusion is important because it makes us make financial decisions based on who we are now, not who we're going to become.
So we end up feeling trapped later on because we invested time and money into something that our current selves don't even care about anymore. Like those 5-year plans we were talking about. Sometimes you just got to hit them with some dynamite. Speaking of which, Howells talks about detonating your plans, which sounds intense. What does he mean by that?
Yeah, he does. It's not as crazy as it sounds. Detonating your plans is more like recognizing when something's not working anymore. It could be your career, your finances, our relationship even. And being willing to make a big change, even if it feels scary.
So it's about flexibility, adapting even if it means going off the path you set for yourself.
Exactly. He tells a story about this behavioral economist, Daniel Kahneman, who was famous for throwing out entire chapters of his book, like almost finished, and he'd toss it.
Wow.
Yeah, because he realized there was a better way to approach the topic. Kahneman called this having no sunk costs. Like he wasn't going to cling to something just because he'd already put time and energy into it.
It's a really powerful way to think about it. It's like that feeling of staying in a job you hate just because you spent years getting the degree. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is hit reset, even if it's scary. And that goes for your well-being and your financial health too.
100%. Housel highlights these two main strategies for dealing with this reality of change. And the first one is to avoid extremes in your financial planning.
Okay, I like that. What does he mean by avoiding extremes, though?
So, like, don't build your whole life around being happy with a super low income forever. But also don't, chain yourself to some high-paying job you hate just to make as much money as possible. It's about balance, in your savings, your free time, your relationships.
Like designing a life you don't need a vacation from.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Aiming for balance just seems so much more sustainable and enjoyable, honestly.
Right. It's about having a way of life that works, that lets you enjoy the journey as you go, not just working towards this point in the future. And this kind of ties into the second strategy, which is that being open to detonating your plans. It's about realizing that sometimes what we thought we wanted or what felt important a few years back doesn't fit with our goals anymore or our values even.
Yeah. I think we've all been there. You're on this career path and it's just not doing it for you anymore, or you're chasing a financial goal, but it doesn't really reflect what you care about now. It's hard to let go, though, when you've put so much time and energy into it.
It is tough, but it's about letting ourselves change course. Like Housel compares it to that no sunk costs idea. We can't let those past investments dictate our future,
So how do we actually put this into practice? Okay, change is going to happen. We shouldn't freak out. Got it. But what are the actual steps to take to embrace this whole detonating plans thing and adapting as we grow and change?
It starts with building in flexibility to our lives and our finances. Instead of getting locked into these super rigid long-term goals, what if we accepted that our dreams will probably change? And that's okay.
So it's more about having some guiding principles than these set-in-stone plans.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're creating a system for making decisions, but it lets you adapt and change as you go. Let's say your dream is to buy a huge house. Lots of people want that, and they base their whole financial plan around it. But what if later on you realize you'd actually be happier in a smaller place and having more freedom to travel or something, or work less?
Right. So instead of putting every extra penny toward a down payment, you're saying maybe leave some room in the budget.
Yeah.
And in life. to explore those passions now while you're saving for a future that might look different.
Exactly. It's like diversifying your life portfolio, the same way you diversify your investments. You're hedging your bets against the unknown by making choices that'll make you happy, no matter what the future holds.
Ooh, I like that. Diversifying your life portfolio. Because we can't predict the future, right? But we can choose to have more options and flexibility.
That's the key point. What might seem like a huge life decision today could be nothing a few years down the line. The important thing is that we roll with the punches, adapt our plans, and keep moving forward.
It's kind of freeing when you think about it like that. Like, we're not stuck with these big life plans forever. And realizing when it's time for a change is actually good.
For sure. We're so used to being afraid of change. But like, what if we got curious about it instead? What if instead of, I messed up my plans, it was more like, this is interesting. What does my life actually want to look like now?
Yeah. Instead of, what have I done?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's next?
Exactly. And that mindset being open to adapting. We can do that with everything. Our finances shouldn't be these strict things we have to stick to. More like guidelines that change as we do.
So less about knowing all the answers right now.
Yeah.
And more about being open to figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, I like that. It's about trusting ourselves, being okay with not knowing everything, and being open to whatever comes up in life.
This has been so eye-opening. I'm already thinking about my own goals differently. More flexibility, more curiosity. For anyone listening who's feeling stuck, or maybe sensing a change coming, what's like one big takeaway from all this?
You are not your past choices. It's never too late to switch things up, big or small. Go easy on yourself. Life's going to throw curveballs. And you're stronger than you think. You can adapt, you can change, and you can build a future that actually lights you up.
Beautifully said. Speaking of lighting us up, here's something to think about. What's one thing you're holding on to right now that your future self might want you to let go of? Just something to chew on. If this deep dive sparked any aha moments for you, hit us up. We'd love to hear about it. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Becoming a Millionaire in 5 years. Remember, every small step you take today brings you closer to your millionaire goals. If you found value in today's video, please give us a thumbs up and share it with someone who's also ready to change their financial future. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, let's turn those dreams into reality. See you next time.